Android Hilt Dependency Injection. Exploring key annotations. What is dependency injection in simple terms? Dependency injection is used to make a class independent of its dependencies or to create a loosely coupled program. Dependency injection is useful for improving the reusability of code. Likewise, by decoupling the usage of an object, more dependencies can be replaced without needing to change class. Look the image. Firstly, the context of app component is the best example for dependency injection, like for the usage. The app component depends on registration component, user component, login component, and that includes storage module. The below registration activity, enter detail fragment, main activity, settings activity, login activity. Lot of activities depends the app component, and the app components depends the storage module, and the registration activity registration depends on the registration view model and the details view model, and the terms and conditions fragment they inject in here, and a lot of the simple concept showing this image. The main three ideology in here: first one module, and second one component, and third one the consumer. Module contains at the module annotations and at provide annotations. That's a provider, called as a provider. And the second one component, at the component annotations, that's called as a bridge. And another one at inject annotations, that means the called as consumer. In the context of Android development with Hilt, several key annotations play pivotal roles in simplifying and structuring dependency injection. Let's delve into each of these annotations and their specific functions. First one, module. What's the purpose? The module annotation identify a class as a Hilt module. A Hilt module is a collection of methods that provide dependencies. Is a kind of a factory that creates objects needed for the eye. Usage. You typically use a module annotation in a class where you define method annotated with a provide, that means provide annotation. Each provide annotation methods is a factory for a particular dependency. For example, at module annotation and installing, that's an annotation of singleton component. Singleton means common class, like for singleton instantiation. And another one is object keyword and network module. The name of that class is class means the object. Singleton class called as a object keyword used anywhere in Kotlin concept is a singleton class. Thus create a network module singleton class inside of the provides that contain a lot of functions. That's the functions single instance, like for the dependency injection, dependency annotation, that's a module. Function create provide retrofit function, but the return type is a retrofit class. The configure and return retrofit and some basic creation, like for the returning configure in the portion of here. Okay, so next we are discussing about at installing. That's an installing annotation. What the purpose? Installing specify the Hilt components a module will be installed in. Hilt components are containers that manage life cycle and scope of provider object. Once again, installing specify the Hilt components. A module will be installed in. Hilt components are containers that manage the life cycle and scope of the provider objects. Next, usage. Used to conjunction with at the module annotation. It defines what the dependencies provided by the module will live and how long they will store in memory. For example, at module installing singleton components class. That's called as app module. We are discussing about already app module. Like for the add module singleton component, specify the this is a module. This is a module class, that means a singleton class, and all installing is a singleton component. We are specify this in here. Third one, add Android entry point. That's an Android entry point annotation. What's the purpose? This annotation is used to mark Android classes such as activity, fragment, view, services, etc. as entry point for Hilt dependency injection. This is called as like for the annotator with specify with Android entry point. Like for the if one time say the activity main activity about we are annotated with Android entry point, like for the fragment 1, fragment 2, anything we are annotated with that, like for the view and services, etc. Another one, we are usage. When you annotate with Android class within Android entry point, Hilt knows to inject dependency into that class. That means, and when we are at Android entry point annotation about that class, Hilt knows to inject dependencies into that class. That's a simple concept. At Android entry point, for example, at Android entry point, like for the main activity, at the contact activity, at inject, latency or retrofit. We are already discussed about the retrofit instance so at the module class. We are at inject latency or retrofit, that return a retrofit type of class object. Just a simple ideology, but we know that retrofit is common. We are using there. Okay, it's a simple concept. Android entry point in nonce. We are annotated here the Hilt dependency nodes there to any dependency injecting there, anyone dependency injected there knows the and Hilt dependency. Okay, that's it. For example, at inject keyword, at inject annotation inject keyword using latency or retrofit. Actually the retrofit instance injecting here. Okay, very simple. Fourth one, at inject. What is an inject? Purpose is used to request the dependency. It can be placed on a constructor, a field, or a method. Very simple. It's used to request a dependency. Request a dependency to provide Hilt. To request the dependency, please provide the Hilt. That's a requesting to Hilt dependency. It can place on constructor or a field or a method. Sometimes it's injecting constructor or a field or a method. Anywhere we can use it to inject. Keyword used there. Usage. The context of Hilt, when inject is used to constructor, is used on a constructor, it tells Hilt how to provide instance of that class. When used on a field or method, it tells Hilt to inject a dependency into that field or method. Very simple. In the context of Hilt, when inject is used to on a constructor, it tells Hilt how to provide instance of that class. to provide instance of that class. When used on a field or method, it tell Hilt to inject a dependency into that field or method. That's a symbol. For example, class my repository inject annotation constructor. That's in idea of Kotlin. A private wall API service injection here. Okay, and the constructor is like for the parameter. That's actually injection here. Fifth one, Hilt view model. What the purpose? This annotation marks a view model class to be set up for injection by Hilt. What the usage? It allows Hilt to inject dependency in your view model. The Hilt view model annotated with the view model can then be retrieved in your activities or fragments using the standard view model providers. What is that? It allows Hilt to inject dependencies in your view model. The Hilt view model annotated with view model can then be retrieved in your activity or fragment using the standard view model providers. For example, Hilt view model class my view model at inject annotations constructor like for the repository, my repository inject in here and extends view model constructor like for that. Conclusion. These annotations are the backbone of the Hilt dependencies injection system in Android development. They provide a structured and intuitive way to manage and utilize dependencies across various components of an Android application. By understanding and correctly applying these annotations, developers can significantly streamline and enhance the maintainability of their Android projects.